Hey guys, what's good? I'm sitting in a different spot today. I happened to come across a Jesse Lee Peterson video, and I was like, you know what? I'll check into that because I like Jesse Lee Peterson. A lot of his stuff, he gets them in pretty good predicaments usually. So let's see what this one's about. I have not seen this video before, so let's hop into it.
Does white privilege exist?
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
And where's the proof of that?
All around. I tell people often now, in hindsight, one of the things that I wish I would have been more cognizant of was the white privilege at UCLA that was sitting, right next to me. For black people, I believe.
So you're going to the same school a white person goes to, but the white person has privilege over you in doing something that you can't do. Or see, this is what I've always said, and you'll see it in my other videos if you guys check it out. I say it's rich privilege. It doesn't matter what color you are. When you're rich or you got a lot of power, that's when you get all the privilege. Now, the white people in Congress and on the left side have had other black people push it, other black Congress people. Like, how are they up there talking about some oppression and some white privilege? Meanwhile, they are whether they're the mayor or the governor or they're in Congress, like, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. They're just out there keeping y'all down. That's all they're doing. Have y'all not? A lot of people are waking up to the BS they've been pushing. So, and I'm not going to interrupt this video very much. I'm going to try to just pause. I'm going to try to pause it as little as possible.
White privilege is something to leverage.
What is it though? I don't see it anywhere. What is it?
And for those of you that don't know, Jesse Lee Peterson, he grew up on a plantation. I can't remember if he was born in the 50s, but either way, he was raised on a plantation.
What is it?
What
What?
How don't you
For
not
people
see
like
white
me
privilege?
who don't see it.
How do you not? How do you not see white privilege?
Because it doesn't exist. That's
Yes,
what
it does.
So what
There's
is it
some
exactly?
things. I believe white.
And see, that's the thing. All right, that's a black woman. How would she know what it's like to be a white man or a white woman? Because best believe I've been messed with and harassed by the cops. And had I fought the cops and tried to run or reach in my pocket in the middle of him trying to arrest me, best believe I'd have gotten smoked. But guess what? Y'all wouldn't have heard about it because I'm white. That's how come 225 white men die. I know in one year there was 11 black people that died and there was 225 white. But not one of those white people were on the news. Media don't push it. It don't fit their narrative.
White privilege is just the ability just to be free and white and not have the same type of social economic.
You're free and black and you get to go around with my brown skin keeps me down. Gimme, gimme, gimme. That's how I see it. Meanwhile, my people are dying by the cops' hands and not one march has been made, not one parade, not one statue, none of it. We're just forgotten about. Y'all don't hear nothing about us. You don't see white guys standing on the side of the road or marching, blocking streets. You don't see us lighting anything on fire. No one cares about the white man dying because the media don't care. They don't care until it's at their front door and they're the ones catching the heat.
And social ills as black people have to deal with. I mean, there's no white racial profiling. White people don't get pulled over by the cops just because they're white.
Man, I've told this story before on another video, but this is back in the day. I was in the hood with my boy about 3 in the morning. There was this black lady. She come outside. She had to be in her 70s. She was like, baby. She's like, what are you doing out here? She's like, you don't need to be out here, baby. She's like, especially the cops right by, they going to see you and they going to get you because they know you stick out right now. And I was like, as soon as she comes out the house, I promise you I'm going to be getting out of here. And she was like, all right, baby, be careful. And I'm telling you, anytime a white person is seen out at night in certain areas, for sure, Automatically. There's a reason we're out there, and it's wrong. But I might have not have been doing nothing.
They have the ability to, show emotion and love to their sons without being emasculated.
I really don't know what she's talking about right now. You're telling me a black man can't show love to his son? What? What are you talking about? I know that's bull crap. My ex-wife's baby's dad, he's black, and I lived with him for a little while. He showed his sons he loved them every damn day. That's a damn lie.
Emasculated. There's all kind of examples
That's
of white
amazing
privilege.
that you believe that.
Absolutely. Why don't you black? How come you don't believe white privilege exists? What you see?
Well, because I am black in color, but I don't have that dark mentality that most black people have.
Clearly.
The victim mentality. Go around always the victim, always asking for a handout. But you yourself haven't had anything happen to you. You wasn't a slave. You're not a slave. Your mom wasn't a slave. Your dad wasn't a slave. And the thing is, Jesse Lee Peterson, he grew up on a plantation. You would think of all people, he would know what was going on. So, it's all in your head.
I see, she said clearly, I see that white people have the same struggles and things that we have in that
What type of
they have
struggles
to
do they
make their
have?
marriages work.
What you mean, what kind of struggles we got? I grew up in a one-bedroom trailer, and I slept on the couch till I was 15. We had holes in the floor. We had wolf rats. The big rats, the wolf rats. What you mean, what struggles white people got? We didn't get a free house. We couldn't just go to the city and say, I need a place to live, give me some money and a place to stay.
They have to make their children, help their kids grow up in the right way so that they can earn a living and be independent.
But they also have the majority of their
make
fathers
kids-
at home.
Right.
We don't
and they-
have.
That is a choice. The government destroyed the black family, and it destroyed white families too, but it destroyed the black family by making the man not be in the house in order to get that check, to get the benefits. The man couldn't be in the house. Now, they didn't have to take that. They could have said, you know what, screw that. We'll just get by the way we are and make it work. And some did. But a lot didn't. That has nothing to do with the white person. It's not why my dad was around whenever I was growing up, even though after the age of 11, he basically really wasn't in my life. I mean, he was around. He lived with us, but he didn't deal with me none.
The reason for that, it's starting to change somewhat now, but the reason for that is because they are taking responsibility for that, whereas black men and women are not taking responsibility for that as they did prior to the civil rights movement.
Exactly. Before the civil rights, black families had a higher percentage of staying together. They were becoming more successful. And that, I think, is part of why the government did the bullcrap they did. I honestly think these white politicians back in the day, yeah, they did. But see, that's not just because they're white. It's because they had the power to do it. That's what I mean by, I think it has to do more with if you're rich and or powerful. And the richer you are, the more power you got.
Black people are blaming it on their lack of self-control and self-containment. They're blaming it on white people, while white people are working hard to keep it going.
I do
Yeah.
believe
themselves.
that there is a need for black people to be held more accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that doesn't excuse racism, that doesn't excuse institutionalized racism, that doesn't excuse.
Institutionalized racism is nothing but a bunch of words. Racism is when people are getting strung up in trees and it's only based on one, just due to the color of your skin, or You're not allowed to do this because of the color of your skin. You can't go in the bath. You can't sit here. You can't do this. That is racism. And see, that is the thing. It used to be segregated where blacks, you had your own water fountain, you had your own school buses, you had your own schools. Everything was yours. The whites had theirs. But the government decided to force everyone together, which you can't do. You got to let people integrate on their own. Well, then they tried to force us together, and then now the black people got everything the white person had. But it's gotten so far that people are trying to go back to segregation. Make up your mind. What do you want? You want what the white man got, or do you want to have your own? That's a simple question. The thing is, not everybody's going to answer it the same.
But there's no such thing as that. It's an illusion made up by black people and their leaders.
No, it's not.
Their leaders, yeah.
Where's the proof of it?
Yeah, don't y'all like how she trying to be a little smart A with her little face she making and sitting there bobbing her head? But anyway, you know.
What do you mean, where's the proof of it?
There are many kids
where's the proof of it?
Black kids who are allowed to get into these universities around the country, right, based on affirmative action, and because of affirmative action, based on it.
Yeah, y'all want to go about affirmative action? How come the basketball, if the country's only 13% black, shouldn't every basketball team be 13% black? Shouldn't it be like 87% white? Or 85% white, 2% the rest, whatever they're. I think the census is messed up. I think they got it so messed up because, dude, everywhere I go, I rarely see a white person. I get it at football games and concerts and stuff. All the videos, you'll see a ton of white people there. But when I go out, I see more Indians, Hispanics, and every other race than I do whites. I don't see that many whites, but I know they're out there somewhere. It just must be where I live at.
And color, that's discrimination based on color, and that's wrong. And these kids are getting in, but they're not earning their way. So when they fail, they feel less than before they were allowed to get
And then when they fail, it's the white man's fault, and it's racist.
in based on color.
I'm a proud product of affirmative action. When I went to UCLA, it was because I was an affirmative action.
It's because you're black. The skin, color of your skin.
I think I turned out fantastic. So
yeah, well, you didn't.
So a lot of my peers who were having challenges.
If you would have turned out fantastic, you wouldn't be on Jesse Lee Peter and getting your butt handed to you.
Getting into some of these predominantly white institutions.
And
affirmative action was.
But what are you doing once you finally break into the white institution? When it's not got nothing to do with white, it's got to do with money. Money, 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 money.
Great. My father went to Harvard. You know, he was one of very few blacks.
Was he affirmative action?
Why does it always seem like it's always the black people? Like she just said, her dad went to Harvard. She didn't grow up in no struggle. Your dad went to Harvard, you ain't in the struggle. I don't care what you say.
I don't know if he was. That was back in the late 60s.
Well, then he wasn't. He earned his way.
So, that being said, I still believe that.
So your dad went through the struggle. You ain't went through no struggle because your dad went to Harvard and he got a good job. You're not going to go to Harvard and just get a piece of junk job. Not back then. Nowadays, yeah, you get it, no job. You'll be serving tables the rest of your life, the things they're going to school for.
Affirmative action helped me get into UCLA, and it gave me access.
So you needed help.
You gotten in there on your own because you were not smart enough?
I don't know if I wasn't smart enough, but based on the curve and what I was competing with you know, other.
Are you saying white people are smarter than you? That right there is a dumb way to think. Your brain is just as good as someone else's brain, except for, you know, if you're special needs, that is another whole story. Other than that, if you put your mind to something, you can do it if you got the drive to do it.
Other individuals who had different educational opportunities and teachers. I mean, I'm coming from, you know, the LA Unified School District. I mean,
what do you mean? Okay, so every teacher's different. I'm white. I went to school. There was black kids in the same class I was, but we didn't get a teacher that went to a different school, so that's not the color of our skin. That's just who you end up as a teacher. That has nothing to do with that. That
So at the
has
time, I think LAUSD was still pretty good. But I went to all white schools from high school up
So you
through
got
college.
a good education.
so. Like I said, she didn't grow up in the struggle. She just said she went to all white schools, so that means she lived in where all white neighborhoods, and at the same time says white people are the racist ones, but yet she's lived with nothing but whites, went to school with nothing but whites.
Why couldn't you get into the school based on your own talent?
I don't know. Maybe because I didn't have some of the opportunity.
But you
first
had
of all,
the opportunity.
No,
She
first
don't
of
know.
all,
You had the
the
same opportunity
SAT
those white kids were having.
Not necessarily. I had
Yeah,
different
you did.
teachers. I had different
So you went to a
resources.
white-
Oh, so you went to a white school, but since you were black, they gave you dumber teachers or black teachers, or what? What did they do different for you that your white students that were your classmates, what did they get?
White integrated school.
I'm talking about
mostly
going
white.
into these other into UCLA. I still had to be able to deal with some of the issues and going to predominantly white schools,
Like
but I
what?
still had to be able to compete.
But that was
Like
that
what?
was your
What do you mean, like
choice.
what?
Some of the issues going to a
I
predominantly
went
white.
to
Okay. But the thing is, it was her choice to go to that school. She chose that school. She knew it was a white school when she put in her application. If you wanted to actually, not be around racism, why didn't you go to, like, off the top of my head, I know there's A&T. That's like 20 minutes away from me, A&T, the Aggies. And every year they got a homecoming. And that shit usually get wild, boy. I'm talking about wild. I used to be out there. But yeah, you could have went to A&T. You could have went and been with the Aggies. It's mostly all black, like 98% black. But you didn't go there. You want to be with the racist white people.
when I went to I would graduate from University High School, and at the time they didn't have an African American student union.
And?
We
African American Student Union.
at the school.
Well, that's a good.
But the thing is, you live in America, so why you need anything African is beyond me. Your mama and daddy were born in America. Their mama and daddy were born in America. Why is it supposedly African American? You're not African. African is a continent. There's many different tribes in Africa.
It's a good thing.
They didn't have one.
That's a good thing.
Why?
Why do you need something like that?
Why didn't you go to A&T? You would have been around your people. It's because it wasn't white and it wasn't as good in your eyes. When actually, see, I dropped out of high school, then I went and got my GED, and then I went to school for an electrician's diploma, and I got it from the community college. And I've done better jobs than some people that went to actual colleges. I catch them working in restaurants for 10, 15 years because their degree got them absolutely nothing.
But they have Asian student unions. They have Jewish student unions. They
Do
have
they?
all kind of
Did
different.
they have
student
white
unions.
student union?
They need student union. They own the whole school.
Yeah, you know this. You know she dumb. You know she dumb. She sat here and picked all these white schools. Yeah, she's slow.
So
But the kids didn't own the school. The kids didn't.
But
own
I'm
it.
saying there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing wrong
It's
with having
amazing that
a
you think this
segregated, population of students who just want to study together, or work together, or to be able to
Would you
deal
be in
with.
support of a white student union?
Yeah, of course.
It would be okay with you?
Yeah.
Oh,
why
she
not?
throws that
But
out
most
there.
blacks don't feel that way.
I think all cultures should be able to segregate and to be able
But you just said they own the school. You act like every white person is related to the person that owns the school.
to work within their cultures and network within their own culture.
But it's racist when white people do it. When white people only want to stick with white people, it's racist. But when blacks want to do something African, it's not racist.
Absolutely.
Does racism exist?
I believe racism does exist.
And where's the
absolutely.
proof of that?
You just see it all over in the country. That we're proof of it. In terms
What-
of just
what-
the
what do I see?
Disproportionate.
Yeah, it is pretty much like the NFL is predominantly black. The NBA is predominantly black. Yeah, it's pretty racist. White people are singled out.
In the economics with black people,
But that has nothing to do with racism.
it does. Racism is about power. It's about who's in control. And black people can't be racist because we're not in control. We're not in control.
That bitch just said black people can't be racist. Like I've said, whoever has the power and the money can do whatever they want. And it can be racist or it can not be racist.
In control of the educational system, some of the social.
But if you're only
organizations
13%
and things
black
that
in
run
this country, what
we're
do you
not in
expect?
Control. Racism about power.
But you would
What
be in
race is
control of your own life if you had good parents, if they taught.
You are in control of your life, and you still went to one of these racist white schools, and you grew up with a daddy that went to Harvard, living in an all-white neighborhood.
You had to be independent if they taught you how to build, how to take care of. I've noticed that the reason I left where I lived over there in the Crenshaw district is that once the white people left, because once I moved there, when I first moved there, it was mostly whites. But once they left, as they did in Gary, Indiana, and other places, the blacks turned it into a ghetto. A beautiful area went to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this before. You know, when you're given something for free and you don't have to work for it, and you know you'll just get another one when you tear this one up, why do you have any respect for the things that are around you when you can easily have it all replaced and given another free one? That's why they turn these nice areas into ghettos, because they didn't work for it.
So I got out. But if blacks had more character and they were taking care of themselves and being responsible and buying land and teaching their
But that
children,
has to be taught.
then right. So that has nothing to do with racism.
But that has to, of course, that has to be taught.
So it's not racist. It's not white people's fault that you're not
It's
teaching
not.
your children to do that.
No, but it's not. If the
that true?
parents don't know,
They
if
don't
the parents,
know.
If, so-
But that's
if
not
the
white
parents
people's
don't
fault,
know,
though.
but if they go into
but-
some of these institutions, these predominantly white institutions, they are targeted.
That's
they
where
don't have
you
the same
went.
opportunities because of.
That is where she went on purpose, to a predominantly white school. But if it's so racist, one, you wouldn't have been allowed in. Two, you wouldn't want to go there if it was racist.
Their color. It's true. I mean,
So
I've
then
been,
why go in there then? Why not go to all black school?
Exactly.
I'm sorry?
some people do choose. That's
Well,
what
Why didn't
you
you?
see a lot of these black kids going to these white universities, and then they force their way in by saying, I need affirmative action.
And then they need safe spaces to be safe from the white man that's stringing them up by the dozens. Got pine trees looking like Christmas trees out there with all them ornaments hanging from it. It doesn't make sense to me, guys. How warped has the government pushed this ideology?
Affirmative action. Once they get in, now they crying racism. Why do
Yeah.
you want to force your way in with the people
Yeah.
you think are your enemies, and you're still complaining once you get there?
I don't think people are forcing their way. I don't. Does
They are.
affirmative
Affirmative
action
action
even exist?
is forced based on color.
Does affirmative action even exist? Are people getting in based on affirmative action?
Yes.
Today,
Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
The way Trump has it down, he's just leveled the playing field. So it is going to have to be more about being able to be competitive.
Hallelujah.
All right, guys, that is the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you would like for me to watch and react to, and I will hop straight on it. I hope you all have a blessed day and a wonderful night, whatever it may be. Y'all take it easy.